going?
You're good to go.
All right, welcome to the April Library Advisory Board meeting. And we are going to get started with approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from last month.
Can I make an adjustment to that? Just that the date on the second page be noted that today's meeting is April 13th, not May 11th?
Yes, we will. I hope Clarissa will make note of that and change it. And so were there any other things that we needed to change? Okay. So
before we start, I don't know why I'm gone. I'm pressing launch meeting and nothing's happening.
Well, we see you.
We see you.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see you.
Well,
You just went back to the page that says launch meeting and that you normally press, and then I see you, and then, but it's not doing anything when I press launch meeting.
Maybe start over.
Or maybe your Zoom window is behind the page that says launch meeting.
I'll just try to start over.
Hover over your start menu at the bottom of your screen. And you should see the little Zoom icon somewhere on the bottom, and then just click on that and it'll bring up the window. Maybe that'll help.
Nothing happens when I press launch meeting, and you said something, there's nothing on my screen anymore except for the Zoom thing that normally lets you in. I went out and then I came back in and nothing's happening.
Well, what do you think about taking this vote? There's Denise. Hi, Denise.
Can you reduce it, like that Zoom screen, because it might be behind it?
Well, now I'm back on email. Now I press Zoom.
Hi, Steve. Well, Catherine, we're going to go on because I'd like to go on with what we're doing. Okay. So we have a motion from Gretchen to approve the minutes with the change in the last sentence. Is there a second? Francine seconds. All in favor of approving the minutes? Okay, yay, we approve the minutes. Good. All righty. Did we have any public comment?
There was no public comment.
Okay, thanks. Do we have, we have Evie or Evie from the Teen Advisory Board. Go ahead, Evie or Evie. Let us know how it is, which is your name.
I'm so sorry. I think they are having trouble with their internet and just glitched out again and off the call.
Well, should we move on?
I think so.
Okay, maybe they'll come back in. That's too
Yes.
bad. Oh, wait, there she is again.
Yes.
Maybe.
Hi, I'm so sorry about that.
No problem. Go ahead.
Oh, is it my turn for the?
Yeah.
Okay. Several tab members helped make spring break a little more interesting by helping to pack bendy friends take and make kits. People were encouraged to take pictures and send in pictures of their bendy friends having fun spring break adventures. Everyone who sent in a picture was put into a drawing for some gift cards to area businesses. Tab got creative again, coming in during spring break to help decorate the teen scene room and getting ready to open on April 5th. They added spring art to the windows in the collection, labeled the chalk wall, created a post-it note art gallery, and more. Next, we are preparing to host a murder mystery party on Zoom on April 28th. We chose a script called Murder at the Red Rose Masquerade so we can dress extravagantly. We are in the process of choosing which characters to portray.
Okay, thank you. Is it Evie or Evie?
Evie.
Evie, thank you, Evie. Anyone have questions for Evie?
No, but I have something to show you. Can you see this?
Yes.
I realize this is a bendy friend from, I don't remember how long. It's been sitting on my bookshelf forever. It was the first that I got the first time I volunteered at Bush Park when I first came to Salem, and I was volunteering for Turtle Ridge, I believe. And I had completely forgotten about it until I saw the Facebook post and I realized, oh, I have a bendy friend. And so it's from more than 10 years ago. So they last a long time.
Yes. So this is the bendy friends are what the maker thing was in
Right.
In April.
And so there was a group of library volunteers in a booth down the way from us. I'm sorry, I didn't fill that in. And I went over during my time there and worked with them.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Anything else for Evie? Thank you, Evie. Thank you for all the things that the Teen Advisory Board does. And I saw that you approved the fine-free resolution. So that's really great. I think it will benefit the teens and all children and everyone. So anyway, you can stick around or go do something else. All right, my report, I'm sorry, I did not write a written report. I'm going to very briefly say some things that I did this month. Catherine and I met with Kim. We talked about some things. I exchanged a lot of emails with Catherine about various issues. I testified at the bond committee meeting. That's for the upcoming bond. It is looking fairly good for branch libraries. I researched card catalogs for the seed exchange. I did not find any, but there are some things online that I think we could use for that. So I think what we need now is some buy-in from the library itself. I attended the virtual Public Library Association conference. I did a little more research about the bus stop. And today I met with Sarah Bishop, one of our newer board members, and actually got to see her in person. So that's kind of cool. Any questions? Okay, on to City Librarian's report. She gave us a written report. Any questions or anything you want to add, Kim?
Yeah.
Our official librarian.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, we're just getting people hired. We're really excited to have the spaces like the study room and the teen space open. People are using them, so that's great to see. We're seeing more and more people using the library. Our circulation numbers are going up. Our new card membership is going up. So we're just looking forward to summer reading now, and getting some in-person programming available for folks. So yeah, lots to look forward to.
Any questions for Kim?
Kim, is the plans for the discovery room to open?
Yeah, there is. So right now they're preparing it. They're getting it ready to reopen. We think it depends on how long that takes, but we hope like by summer it will be open.
Great.
Denise, did you have a question? Oh,
I wanted to comment that I am so pleased with the shut-in program. We got my 91-year-old mother-in-law set up on large reading, large edition books. And Alice has been bringing her books and taking them back. And she is just delighted to have somebody to be able to read again.
Yeah. I'll pass that on. Alice has done, she is our Operation Bookshelf Librarian, and she's done a really great job in that role. And I'll definitely pass that on. It's kind of her passion, and you can really tell.
Great. So I just wanted to ask you, Kim, on your report. So was this just for 1 month? We had 925 new cards.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a lot of cards for 1 month.
Yeah.
That is great. And I think that's because the library's opening and.
Yeah. We've had a lot of people come in that have been waiting, like have been just moved to the area, but have been waiting to come in and get their library card. And so we've seen a lot of new faces, right? New to the area faces too, right?
Great. All right. Can we have a brief Friends report, Carol?
Yes, it's very brief. We are going to have a book sale next month.
Yay.
It will be for 2 weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The 12th, 13th, and 14th, and why don't I have this in front of me? Hang on a sec. They're consecutive weekends, starting the 12th. The flyers and little reminder things are available already in the bookstore. So the details are publicly available as to the dates and times. And we are so excited. It's like,
Great.
wow, it's really going to happen. So all of you, please come to our book sale.
All right. Is it at the library?
Yes, it will
Okay.
be in the Anderson rooms.
Okay, great. All right, any questions for Carol? Okay, foundation report, Gretchen. Mute.
Thanks.
There you go.
We're looking at the talents within the foundation and seeing, kind of collecting what talents we have and what we can do to move forward.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Now, do you have a full board at this point?
Yes, we do.
Okay. All right, any other questions about the foundation? Let's go to discussion items. Francine, future partnership with Food Bank.
So I started thinking of this during the librarian interviews about how to increase readership and patron access. And I started thinking about Denise's idea that we've kind of thrown around about there being a flyer or something that can be given, like she's been an ambassador when she goes to the grocery store. And I started thinking about people, like I have volunteered at the food bank, and I know that people come there for food boxes. And I also know that a lot of institutions come there and get food for, like I did it for family building blocks, but there's also churches and other groups that come and get tons, like literally hundreds of pounds of food every week that they then distribute at their venue, at their sites. So I started thinking about maybe that would be a place where this idea of developing some folder or some one-page sheet that would emphasize Salem resident, because obviously Kaiser people know that they can't, I mean, it would have to be tailored, but I think it's if we're not going to have food for fines anymore, that's a way the library has supported. You wanted to say something about food for fines, Kim?
So we are going to have some version of food for fines. We just don't know what it's going to look like at this point. So maybe collecting food for, lost materials or something like that. But we are working on updating our brochure. So we would be able to get a really nice brochure out to places like the food bank. That would be amazing too. So.
Yeah, and it could be put in the food boxes, for example, and the organizations that come there who serve people could also have that. And I think it's a way, definitely a way in my mind to bring that information to people who may not be, getting that information in any other setting, and they may be the people who could need it the most. So I don't know what the next steps are, but I just wanted to bring up where the idea came to me and how I thought, it could be operational. And I'm sure other people have lots of other suggestions, but it could be worked further. But I hope that we do consider it.
I think that's a great idea.
And
Sure.
I agree. I think it's a great idea. And Kim, I'm assuming that the flyer will be at least in English and Spanish.
Yes, yeah. We also have summer reading coming up. That might be an opportunity to promote summer reading in information about our summer reading program, and we could get the information in English and Spanish too.
And it would be great if we could include Russian as well. I was just at one of my students' senior thesis presentations, and she's been interning at the Food Share. And she said 15 to 20% of the clients are Slavic Russian speakers. So if we do something with the Food Share, I'd love to see it in Russian as well.
And many of the people who volunteer working there are a Slavic background. I remember that that are sorting the foods to the various bags and things. Yeah.
Oh, that's great to know.
And if possibly Swahili, putting some things into Swahili. We have quite a few Swahili speaking refugees here. And of course, now we have quite a few Afghan.
Yeah, we would, for some of the languages, we don't have staff that on hand to translate, but we could get them translated.
Can I ask, are children held to the same residency areas? Like, can children outside of Salem's area go to the summer reading club?
Yes, yeah. So it's, they can, like Kaiser School, yeah.
Well, and in fact, Kaiser residents can check out a certain number of books.
Yes.
From our library, which
like a passport library card.
They don't pay for it, but
right.
Anyway.
Yeah, other libraries like Multnomah County and Washington County, people can get passport library cards and have take out up to 10 items.
So we have a basic library card for people outside of the city limits, and that allows them to take out 10 items per card.
That's pretty generous. Denise?
I'd like to ask Kim. Kim, do you know when the flyers might be available?
It's on our list of things it's right now in the process of getting revised from what it was before. So then we'll get the English version revised, and then we'll send it in for the Spanish translation, and then we'll look at getting these other languages as well.
We have a few Buddhist churches, and I don't know what language they use there. Thai, maybe, I don't know. I could look into that.
Sure.
Okay. Catherine.
Oh.
You're unmuted, Catherine. I mean, you need to unmute. There you
I
go.
was just up in Vancouver visiting the library up there, and asked for information on whether they had a flyer for that provides general information to people interested in the library. And they did, and they had it in probably 6 or 8 different languages.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so That would be really good. We also have Pacific Islander community in the city with a fair number of people. So we'd have to decide what were the, largest population groups we wanted to try to serve.
When we did the strategic plan survey online and in print, we had it in several different languages. So it seems like that's something we could do. We could replicate with our brochures as well.
All righty. Denise, go ahead.
Catherine, do you have a sample of that flyer you saw?
Yes, I have it with me. I have it. I wish we were all sitting around a table. You want me to show it right here?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some way to get it to Kim.
Maybe I should play my music for the day.
If you switch to speaker view, it might appear larger than if it's in the little windows.
True.
Usually you can find that up in the upper right-hand corner, at least if you're on a Mac. I don't know what it is on other things.
Well, while we're waiting, let's see if this will work.
Well, here's just a couple of them. Here's one and here's one in Russian. And here's one in Spanish. And they open up and
oh, wow.
Yep, there's all kinds of information about the services that are provided and that sort of thing. And also all their branches, which they have a lot of them. Anyway, so I'd be happy to share this and other material with the group. I don't know how to do that until we meet in person again, really.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, it seems like, I mean, I would like one page because I just think that's easier, and it's cheaper. But if we had something like that, it seems like it could be used for so many purposes, plus, of course, online and social media and all that, because I know that's the way the younger generation gets their information. But, quick, easy, how to access, how to get a card, that kind of stuff. Seems.
And
Sarah, go ahead.
And if they're going to be different, language versions, it would be lovely if they're in the Spanish one, you could sort of have a very small piece by highlighting that there is a Spanish language collection at the library, and same for the Russian language collection. So to show that you are speaking directly to the community.
Right.
Do we have Russian materials, Kim? We don't.
You do. Not many.
Well, we used to have a Russian collection, but it's not up. It's not on the floor right now.
Oh, well, that's
come back.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something we need to look into. It's just a few more Russian materials, or even Ukraine, because I'm thinking we're going to get some Ukraine refugees, perhaps, and that would be something to look into.
So that's one thing that the strategic plan will help us determine is how to spread that collection, to make the collection accessible, and have languages that we may want to include in the collection based on our population. So we're really hoping to find some of those things out through the strategic plan as well.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to move on to the people who went to the Public Library Association conference, and I'm going to start to give a report just because I want to be a model. I want to give like some suggestions that I got, not like, oh, I went to this great thing. So one of the workshops I attended was where they made a makerspace in their library with a kitchen, and they really want to help people meet their personal and career goals. So the kitchen is used to help people get their, like, what's that called, food handlers certification, and also have programs about nutrition and cooking. I went to one about transgender, non-binary issues, and they suggested that there should be LGBTQ displays in the library, and I saw a great an example of that up at Multnomah County Library. They had it was like National Visibility Day or Invisibility Day, and they had a whole bunch of books about LGBTQ issues. Also, one of their suggestions was using non-specific gender language instead of saying like men or women or guys, which I personally hate. Say people, folks, y'all, because people might present one way and be another way. And so you really want to keep it more sort of a they thing. One of the presenters used this quote, and I really liked it. Joy is a form of resistance. And she was talking about how, you know, joy combats, you know, all these racism, sexism, all this kind of thing, because it's about joy. And there was a workshop called Finding Joy - Library is a Space for Playful Learning. And some of their suggestions were they had a farmer's market at the library, they have gaming club, they have music concerts, and they have music, what is that called when, you know, open mic at the library, which I thought was cool. And so those are some of the good suggestions I got. Who would like to go next? Gretchen?
Yeah. I agree with you specifically on the makerspace. That was very impressive. However, when I first got your email about doing this, I could not think of one specific because I had this feeling of the whole conference in terms of being empowering of staff. And, but I do have specifics, but that the whole conference seemed to be about empowering the self and empowering staff. And starting from the very first presenter, Lovey Jones and her, you know, that was a very individual thing. However, when we got into they were talking about building boundaries during outreach and how it's important for staff to acknowledge their own boundaries and then not, did you listen to that one? Oops, sorry. That was my phone. Anyway, when we're dealing with patrons who are coming in and wanting, in essence, to take the staff's space, and that the staff has a right to, and that, I don't want to say protect themselves, but have a boundary where they're not impeded upon by the patron, where the patron is honored and acknowledged and listened to without there being stress onto the staff. And also for the staff to be able to speak up and share their truth. And then dealing with evil books and how staff can work with the patrons who come in and want to, in essence, protest the certain kind of book that might be in the library, and ways that the staff can redirect the patron as opposed to confronting the patron and not being in a defensive position. But those were particularly interesting, but the makerspace really did stand out in terms of doing things. Is that really muddled up?
Thanks, Gretchen. Looks like Carol has a question.
Yeah.
I do. Thank you, Lois. Are we having a significant issue with people objecting to books? I guess, Kim.
So currently, we do not at the Salem Public Library have a significant number of people requesting us to re-examine a title and possibly remove it from our collection. But across the country, and especially in school libraries, we're seeing this over and over again. And I believe last year, and I could be getting this number wrong, there was about 1,600 challenges to books in libraries, and most of them were based on LGBTQ issues, or had a character that was Black or brown, or so it's an unusual high number of books being challenged, and they seem to be challenged for reasons that maybe besides the content in them, but at Salem so far, we have not had problems, but other communities, I believe Newburgh has had some problems, the public library with, or had some incidents, I should say, with people challenging books in the library.
Yeah, it sounded like some of the things I heard, not specifically in a workshop, but it seems like there have been, that is looking through the workshop choices, that there was a lot of information about what to do if particularly, I think in some places people are coming in and videotaping staff and asking like, well, why do you have this book? And, telling staff how to deal with that and those kinds of things. So Catherine, would you like to go next? Oh, wait, Kim, sorry.
Just on that note, we do have a collection development policy that, I can share with you. And it also has the form for requests for reconsideration. All of those things we have written into our policy, and it is accessible to our community. So.
And as I listened to the speakers, the whole time, my question was, well, geez, we don't need to worry about this. This doesn't happen with our library. But at the same time, I was very interested in what they were, in the way they were presenting in particular. But there was this in the back of my head was, oh, we don't have to worry about any of this, knowing full well that we may in time.
Well, and I think people have a right to do that. It's
exactly
how to deal with it, and to use our policies
exactly.
And protect all of our patrons, and give them the right to have materials that they want and need.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So Catherine, you want to go?
Yes. Well, Gretchen mentioned the keynote speaker, Lovey Jones, and I got to say she was inspirational. She got a huge round of applause at the end of that. And her basic message was speak up, advocate, have the courage to advocate. It's not a personality trait. It's a skill that can be developed. She says, be a troublemaker, but be a thoughtful one, but get backup. And she said, also know your audience and their interests and values. So I thought that was a really good message to start the, as you say, Gretchen, empowering PLA session off. Then I was especially interested in a couple of sessions that were about how libraries can fill social gaps in the community. And one of them was about a library in Pueblo, Colorado that supports and mentors students in completing their GEDs. And a lot of these students need mentoring and need support, either tutoring, one-on-one tutoring, quiet spaces, grants, computer access, and things like this. And over their pre-COVID rate of success in GED completion for that community was 78%, which is really, really good. Students were able to do that generally between 6 and 18 months. And the speaker said, seek partnerships in the community. I don't know what's happening in our community with respect to that. Somebody I think mentioned Chemeketa College. Obviously that takes staff, and she said that takes, for her program, it takes a one part-time staff member to do. So I thought that was interesting. And another one that I really liked was called How to Measure Community Wellbeing. And it was about libraries being a source of helping to increase overall community well-being. And the example was set in Santa Monica. And in that case, the library communicated with coordinated with the local government to create surveys that ask quality of life questions. How are you doing? How are residents doing? And so on. And then they matched library programs to the needs that are shown by the surveys. In the case of Santa Monica, they found out that the biggest need that they were able to address was a kindergarten readiness. And apparently a lot of kids, a high percentage of the kids were not kindergarten ready. And I thought that this was a really doable thing. Right now, our city sends out surveys every year asking residents how satisfied they are with city services. But that's a pretty narrow kind of survey. I would think maybe this is something we can talk about with a strategic plan and see whether we want to ask the city to kind of enlarge the scope of this survey they send out each year, because that could help the library determine which services it could provide that it's perhaps not providing now, or maybe be able to improve on. So that's it for me.
I'm sure there's data on the kids are tested when they start kindergarten regarding their ability to say the sound of various consonants or even recognize the letters.
Right.
So that would be very accessible imperative to be behind launching that type of intervention.
Right.
Do you mean questions like just sort of general questions like how's your health? Do you have access to nutritional food? I mean, that kind of question, and then we could, have programming about nutrition or what are you thinking?
The questions there were a variety of categories of questions. Yeah, they touched on health, education, services, that sort of thing. And I don't remember the specific questions, but there were a variety of questions that they thought were good indicators of the community's well-being. So, I mean, library staff or our board could potentially help, create some of those questions that we would think might be useful to the library. I mean, I know that the library staff has a good idea of what would be helpful to the community, but it's always nice to get feedback from the community itself. Of course, we've done surveys about how satisfied people are with the library service. And then the city sends a survey out to see how satisfied people are with other services. But you could certainly fine tune that survey to get a little more detail about what people might be able to benefit from that's not specifically book or media or program related.
Right. Denise?
Catherine, was that the one that was called the 350 community well-being?
Yeah, that was one that was called Happiness, something about seeking happiness. There's also really good visuals and graphics for a lot of these sessions. And they're available to us, and I want to download some of them, including for this one. You know, we could get hold of that survey, for example.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. So why don't we all get hold of any graphics that we think might be useful for this, for the sessions that we thought were best. We can share them later when we can sit around a table.
Okay.
I'm curious about who is responding to these surveys and how much study has been made about what areas within the Salem area, who is responding. Like, are the folks next to Four Corners, are they responding?
Mm-hmm.
Are folks in Northeast or Far East responding?
You know, I don't know how the city gets its questions out and about. I didn't get a survey. It may be a random, it may well be a random survey. That's, or maybe through FaceTime. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they do it. Yeah, we'd have to find out, learn more about it.
Denise, do you want to go ahead?
Denise?
Yeah, sorry, I was unmuting. Okay, so one of the librarians spoke extensively about improving their image. Not that our library needs to improve our image, but they had some catchy things. And one of them that they spoke about maintaining a brand so that maybe using same colors, same, same visual fonts, this kind of thing. But what they did, I got the biggest kick out of this. They used a big sandwich board that they stuck outside. Now this has got to be, it's going to require somebody to man this, but about, I can't remember how often they said they changed it, but they had a sandwich board like you've seen on YouTube with some of those real funny sayings about a community. And I thought that would be a fun thing to add. They talked about using TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I don't know, maybe our library already does. I think Kim alluded to that. Yeah, so the positive, consistent branding. There was a library, let's see, they had, she called it capitalizing on found opportunities, which included browse bags, that they like grab bags, and they were themed and put for different ages, and you could check those out with some kind of a generic card. I don't know how that works. Exploration kits, scavenger hunts, that kind of thing. At Halloween, it looks like these people went to a lot of trouble. I couldn't believe what they did. And I don't know if these things are doable, but they had a park and treat. And with us having a parking garage, that could be safe and kind of neat. And you could lead cars through. But they gave them book bags with books and treats for a trick-or-treat theme. For snow, they had it Let It Glow, where they had some kind of a map with houses nearby that were lit up. And then they decorated also and had more gift bags that they handed out. In January, they did Candyland with on the outside of the library. And I think they said they got the TV news. to weigh in on their efforts there, using pool noodles, making candy and that kind of thing. For the summer reading program, they had a petting zoo, animal balloons, and scratch cards with prizes and free snow cones. And then some other library did an outreach to prisons. Kim, do we do an outreach to prisons?
So currently we are not, but that is something that I'm looking into because we have a lot of opportunity there. I know someone that works at, that is a librarian at one of, at the Santa Ana prison. So I think that's an opportunity. We're looking into getting, well, we are going to get through CCRLS what's called e-card verification, which means that it will automatically, we'll be able to put something on our website that automatically verifies someone's address. And then they actually have a full card with that. And it has a lot of really good benefits, but when you're talking about putting brochures in places, we could hook up parole officers with this information, show them how to sign people up for library cards online. They could take that information, come into the library, and we could, even give them more information or have a basic, like how to use the library class. So we are looking at those kind of things. There's also opportunities to do outreach to the jails. So I think those are some things that we're really we'd like to do if we have the time to do it. But there's ways to make it a little bit easier, a little less staff intensive, especially if we partner with parole officers and, other officials in that way.
Are you done, Denise? Okay, thanks. Thank you, everybody that attended the Public Library Association conference. It was really great to be able to go and to get the funding to go. Kim, did you want to report out anything? I know you went one day and I think you got kind of energized.
Me?
Yeah. Kim.
Oh, I went to the whole conference.
You did?
Yeah, so I saw a lot of things. So one of the things I did, I went to a couple of programs on having social services in your library and how that can look. I also looked at the partnerships with decarcerated people and how that can look. I went to several EDI presentations and presentations on trauma-informed service, and also just the health of library staff workers and how to support libraries and create a positive space, and then in turn create positive services for your community. So a lot of those kind of programs. It was a great, I love PLA. This is the third time I've been to PLA. I always come back with bucket loads of ideas, and then it's just, I haven't even got to my notes yet because it's been so busy since we got back. But a couple of us did go in person and a couple of us did go online virtually, and so we just have to have some time to kind of debrief about what we've learned. I know Emily went to some workshops on going through your collection and doing a diversity audit and those types of things. So those are the kind of things that we'd like to implement, but it's always that challenge to find time and resources. But it was a great experience. So
great. Thank you, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Lovey Jones was very inspirational, and Kim and Catherine and I all talked about maybe we could make little stickers that said what would Lovey do, because she did say be a good troublemaker and do advocate and do all these things, and that it's yeah, I mean, I've been called a troublemaker, and now I'm thinking maybe that's a good thing, so why not?
Well, on that note, I did think of you on more than one occasion.
Okay, well.
And how is the Chariots board doing? Have you seen them?
No, I have to tell you, I was not a troublemaker there. I did not go. I think I'm going to try to go at the end of this month because I'm thinking it will be in person, and I think in-person meetings are more effective. But I let myself down on that one, but I will still try to get on it. Okay.
Good.
So let's move on to lab vacancies. Bill had resigned because he had some other things that he has to do. Callan moved out of the area and was overwhelmed. Steve will be with us for a couple more months, and then that seat will be vacant. So we do have one applicant who has applied, and thanks to Gretchen, it sounds like that will be a good fit. I mean, we don't know, of course, that person has to be appointed. So I just wanted to make you aware that we will have 2 vacancies coming up. So think about people that you think might be good. I mean, a lot of us are more seasoned or older, and it would be nice to get some maybe younger people. We've got Sarah right now to be the sole still working person.
And I'm getting advertisements from AARP, so not so.
Oh no! Oh no! I hate that. Wow. So think about people you work well, or you think that you maybe young people that you used to work with, family, friends, and we'd like to reach out to different communities, and the person that Gretchen recruited, will be somebody that I think will be a good connection to the Latinx community. So yeah, I just want to keep that in your head. And Gretchen, thank you so much for what you did, and we will get those vacancies filled. Anybody? Catherine?
Yeah, I was thinking that a logical another member of the lab might be somebody who is connected to the library already through a partnership that we have, but I don't know what sort of partnerships we have at the library. And I wondered, Kim, if you could tell us if we have any current partnerships with, that might be fertile ground for us to find someone who has where there's a real nexus and they might have a real interest in being on the lab.
We do work a lot with the schools and have a lot of contacts with the schools. We have, we have a lot of different connections. I'm wondering, what would be the best way to get the word out to people, but maybe we can think on it and kind of pass the word along that the lab is looking for new board members. But lots of people in the school, lots of community organizations we work with. So
is the partnership with the school district or with individual schools?
Well, I think mostly we work with individual schools. We do we used to go to the schools, and when we were able to, we did get every first grader a library card, that kind of thing. So now we're working with different schools and different districts. So yeah, we have different levels of partnership, but we have a spreadsheet that has all the partnership opportunities that we work with, all the partnership and their contact information.
Would it be possible to just send out an email to that list and
maybe
say, if it's an extensive list, just say, we're looking for people to be on the library advisory board. And,
yeah, let me check into what I can do, and then I'll let you know.
Or Kim, depending on how long the list is, if you could send it to us, and we can look on it to see if we actually know anybody who's involved. You know, because I think a number of us have a few connections in the community, but don't know we have those connections.
Yeah, you might. Yeah. Yeah, let me talk to everyone here, and then because maybe we could do some, I'm not sure if we can, but maybe there's some ways we can help promote the openings of the board member positions.
Okay. All right. Steve had to go. Oh, all right. So let's move on. Oh, and by the way, if you have, oh, Denise, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, do our universities or colleges have library programs of maybe people who might be invited to come sit on? Willamette University, Corbin University, Western Oregon, Chemeketa?
Willamette does not. And I think the library school, Kim would probably know, either Oregon State or Oregon. I think there's only one library school, like Masters in Library Science in Oregon.
Where is that, Sarah?
I'm not sure. I would assume Oregon State or U of O.
Oh, thank you.
Oh. Yeah, you know, I don't even know. When I was getting my master's, there were no library schools in Oregon.
Yeah, there may be none. There certainly aren't in Salem library schools. Yeah.
And you would want somebody that kind of knew the community, our community, and not just be a library person. All right, so let's go to the bond update. Yeah, I have testified several times at the bond committee subcommittee meeting, and now they are actually thinking about putting 2 branch libraries on the bond. It's not for sure. And I think Catherine has some more information about that. Catherine, you want to share that?
Yeah, so you'll all remember that a couple of months ago, Lab passed a motion to urge the Bond Infrastructure Committee to make provision funding for 2 branch libraries, 2 more branch libraries. And yeah, Lois and I have fought, we've testified at every one of the meetings since then, either orally or written form. So we've been, Lovey would be proud of us. And Jim Shepke as well has been instrumental in pushing the issue and providing a lot of good data. And the city, what's happened is that the city has an interest in addressing the issue of low-income housing, the need for more low-income housing. And they're also getting familiar with the idea of mixed-use development. For example, downtown, you're seeing more, businesses on the ground floor, and then apartments or condos up above it. And so with that in mind, they started talking among themselves about applying that concept to libraries. So they, this committee has decided that it would be interested in providing $7.5 million for the purchase of 2 sites that would accommodate a mixed-use development, apartments or condos upstairs and the library downstairs in 2 parts of town. They're not real specific about it yet. So that would provide for the site acquisition and also enough money to actually plan the details of one of those branches. In addition, they're providing $10 million for developer incentives to do all that. And that was something that wasn't in the original staff recommendation, and it's now officially in the current draft recommendation that's going to go to the full city council. So I think we should feel really good about that. It's looking really good. And furthermore, Lois and I both think that, if that gets on the ballot, it'll be that much more likely to actually pass because people like to see branch libraries.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So that's good news.
It is exciting, and it's such a win-win because we could have, you know, a branch and then have hopefully really, you know, sincere low-income housing on top, or senior low-income housing or whatever. And when they've done this in Cornelius, Oregon, and so a lot of this is for seniors, and a lot of the seniors come down then and volunteer. So I mean, what a great, you know, what a great combination. And yeah, I'm excited about it. It's not for sure yet. The draft has to go to city council. The city council has to approve, but we will keep on it. And any questions about that? Okay. Now budget update.
Good job, you guys. Good job.
Thank you. It can be a little, I can get a little nervous when I have to testify in front of the city council, but oh well. Catherine gave me some good advice. She said, well, that nervousness is just like good adrenaline. It's just, you know, it gives you energy. It just gives you energy, which I guess it does.
I get nervous too.
Yeah. So, and the budget update, the budget hearings are starting, as I understand, for the city budget. And we would like to, you know, make some kind of statement for more funding for the library. And Catherine has done some work on this, I believe, and we're hoping to get maybe something passed tonight about what we might want to put in a budget message. So Catherine, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so Norm told us at the last meeting that his recommendation for the library's operational budget for 22-23 is going to be pretty much static, pretty much what it is, what it has been. But we don't have to live with that. We can try for more. And in fact, other boards, other city boards like the Parks Board, they show up at budget meetings regularly. And so this is something that we can tackle. So the lab has an opportunity to give a testimony at the first meeting would be, I've been told, would be the most effective meeting to go to. It's on the 20th of this month. And let's see. Yeah. So Kim, I want you to help me here. My understanding is, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that there's only enough money in the proposed budget that would enable the West Salem branch to continue to have 8 hours a week of being open and no programming. 2 days a week, 4 hours Tuesday, 4 hours Thursday, and no programming. So if I go to the budget committee, I want to make sure that I'm understanding that's all that the proposed budget would be able to afford. Is that right?
Well, that's what we have right now with the staffing level we have. We're hiring some people, we're getting on call. So what we're going to do is reevaluate, but we're never probably going to be open the hour. I'm not even really sure at this point when the last time we were open there before now and what those hours were. So, but my understanding, and since I haven't been here for the history, you know, West Salem has been closed since I've been here. I did not think they were doing programming over there, even when they were open. So, I mean, that's my understanding.
Well,
so,
they were, from the time they opened in the 1990s, they had 35 hours of the library being open 6 days a week, and they had full programming, including children's programming.
I believe we had quite a bit more staff then. I'm not sure, but in the 90s, it's likely that we had more
You may
FTE.
well have had more staff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. But under the current proposed budget, is it correct that we'd only be able to afford eight hours a week?
Well, it's possible we could afford more, but we need to get these positions hired for and trained and see where we're at once we start our programming again, because we're really just restarting everything. And we don't know, we're also in a building that has different service points. And so we're trying to figure out how do we, I don't think, I can't make any promises that it will increase, but it may increase some.
So is
Well,
it,
I was going
Is
to
it
say it's not going to be popular on a ballot measure to put up 2 new sites for any of the voters in West Salem who will be, not very happy to see their own area so deficient in hours. So I think that has to be reconciled, as otherwise politically, I can't see a bond measure being all that attractive when people feel that they've had such a big takeaway.
That's a good point. So is there not enough clarity in the budget proposal that we would even know?
so I
How
think
much
what we're wanting,
services?
well, I think what we're wanting to know, Kim, is it a staff issue of not enough staff, or is it a money issue with the West Salem?
Well, staff is money. It's, yes, both. Staffing, we need the staff to be able to cover the hours, and we are hiring for, like I said, we are hiring all of our open positions, but we were always very thinly staffed before, right? And we still are with the programming that we do and all of the materials that we process, right? So we're getting busier and busier as time goes on. And so something has to give, right?
If you had all the positions filled that you are allowed, that you have been told that you're authorized to fill under the next budget cycle, would you be able to have more than 8 hours a week in West Salem?
Possibly, but I don't know yet until I get those positions filled.
Does that mean that currently, because we're not fully staffed, that we're underspending on the budget in terms of dollars?
Not necessarily. So there's things that, like the way the budget works is you may underspend in personnel services, but that doesn't necessarily translate into savings, right? Because that money was dedicated to personnel, not to materials and services, right?
I'm just saying there's some unspent money though, that because we're not staffed, right? Yeah, okay, so it's not that if we had more staff, we would have less money for other things because they're funded differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I can see that there's some lack of clarity because there've been a lot of big changes to the library and the staffing and all that. So I think it still is a positive idea for the lab to think about providing some testimony along these lines. Because with a static projected budget, I don't see how we're going to end up with more than we have now, which is currently 8 hours a week over on the west, in the West Branch.
So
One other question. So, Kim, is it part of the current or the proposed budget Would the proposed budget accommodate Monday hours at the main library?
I don't know. We have to see. So here's the dilemma. We're just getting staff into the building. We're just getting these positions hired for. We're just starting programming. We're starting some new services along with that programming, along with the old services that we had. And we need to really like see where we're at with staffing and being able to move people back and forth through the branches and, you know, make sure that they're getting what they need. I don't think that is, I don't think adding more hours and possibly opening on a Monday, you know, those are things we could stretch, those could be stretch goals. What we'd like to see really is the strategic plan finished so we can see where people want the hours, people want the services so that we can match what we're doing with what the community wants. And so I don't want to commit to something that maybe the community, that I'm not sure yet that the community wants. I mean, I think they want it, but I'd like to see the results of the strategic plan and the steering committee and what the priorities are so that we have a roadmap so that we can meet those priorities. We may be able to meet some of those priorities sooner, like opening more hours at West Salem than waiting a whole nother budget year. But until we get people in place and more normalized, we just expanded hours at the beginning of this month. So we're still getting used to that and how that works for our scheduling. And so I don't want to commit, I don't want to overcommit the library to things that we may not be able to do, but I don't want to also shut the door on the possibilities, I guess. Does that make sense?
Would you like the lab to testify before the budget committee in support of greater funding for the West Salem branch and Monday hours?
Sure.
Okay. All righty.
Okay. So how do other people feel about this issue?
I think in terms of data, it might be useful to see how much the West Salem branch was used prior to the closing with the pandemic. It was a very busy place whenever I went there. So people sitting and reading, kids there. I mean, it's a vibrant thing. So I think that included in commentary would be some statement about what it has meant to prior to COVID, and that the experience people had with access there as patrons, and that we're concerned that continues to be a place that supports that area, because driving over that bridge, everybody knows, is a nightmare, for people to come back and forth to the main library. So, the traffic and all that is a real barrier to people, accessing the main branch. So I think some data about might be useful to say of our, this is just like fictional, but of our 20,000 card holders, 11,000 of them are, people who live in West Salem or something. I mean, just kind of like something that substantiates the importance of it. And
good idea.
Okay. I don't know how you get that, but I'm sure it's there. Someone knows.
I'm sure there's statistics. Anybody else have any thoughts about this? I'm just going to throw this in. I think just being at the budget hearing is something we need to do. I mean, if other people go and ask for their department, then why aren't we doing that? And actually, when I first came on the lab, which is like a generation ago, not really. We did have somebody that went and talked to the budget committee and you know, said, this is what we need, or we need more, or whatever. But lately we haven't been doing that. So I would like to see us show up, whether we ask for something specific, which I think is a good idea, because people want to know, like, what are you asking for? But if we can't do something, or if it seems like that's going to box us in, then we just say, you know, there's a lot of need for other services in the West Salem, blah, 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 and that. Catherine?
Is it premature to propose a motion?
Go ahead, I think.
Okay. My motion would be the Library Advisory Board recommends that additional funding be added to the proposed library budget to enable the West Salem branch to return to its original 6-day-a-week, 35-hour schedule and full children's programming. We further recommend that the budget be increased to allow the main library to be open 7 days a week.
Is there a second to that motion? Denise? Okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Vote with a yes or a up or whatever. Okay. All righty. So
let me just add that I will find that data if it can be found, Francine, and I have other data as well. So yeah, we'll propose more than this, just this motion will provide a little bit more detail. And also, just so you know, the West Salem neighborhoods are getting wind of this issue. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to provide testimony as well at this or the next budget meeting. So we probably
So their new counselor, they have a new counselor, right?
Mickey Varney.
Yeah, that's going to be important.
Barney, right, right.
So that's done, did it, done. And thank you, Catherine, for kind of taking the reins on that. And Catherine is a great planner and a great statistician. And thank you. So anything else? Okay, great. Denise, did you have something?
Yeah, I would like to volunteer to help in any way I can.
With the budget stuff or
yeah, I think Catherine, I don't have a lot of savvy with that kind of thing, but I can certainly help Catherine.
Okay, super. All right. Thank you, Denise. All right. If nobody else has anything to say, then we will call it a night and I get to eat this time it's fried chicken. Okay, Denise.
I'm sorry to be constantly raising my hands.
No,
I
that's
wonder
okay.
if I could say something after this meeting, very briefly, to Lois, Kim, and Catherine.
Okay, you mean like everybody else leave and then?
Well, let everybody go because they don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Are you okay with that, Kim? Denise wants to say something. Oh, would it be part of the public?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, all right.
But it's not a quorum.
But
Yeah.
Michelle's here.
Yeah, if you don't have a quorum, that's fine. So that should be okay.
Okay, so if everybody else leaves, then we don't have a quorum. And
Just be sure
And I don't mean to be insulting to anybody. I mean, I guess I could just say it to everybody, but you know, but other people might want to leave.
Why don't you just say it and those
All right.
who can leave can leave.
All right. So here it is. I thought I had an injury and I was very excited to go to the Vancouver Library with Catherine and with gym, and for some reason, just overnight, I could not walk on my right leg. And it's not an injury. It is something that's being worked up as a neurological problem. So I am in a situation where I'm on heavy duty medication that makes me even goofier than I already am. Plus, I can't walk or drive. I can walk short distances in the library, such as Kim has seen, but it's with great difficulty. And I had all these plans to run around flyers and to do all of this other stuff. We don't know if this is going to be just a temporary thing or if it's going to be permanent. We don't know, but that might compromise my ability to do some stuff. And there you have it in a nutshell.
Okay.
But I wanted to.
Thanks for letting us. Thanks for letting us know, and keep us informed. And we wish you the best outcome that you can have.
Thank you. But I'd like to ask that you keep me busy without constraint of having to run around and walk and drive and stuff. Unless I make a car hop with people.
Okay, maybe you can be our researcher or something like that.
I think so. So. I'm a good quorum.
Right. Okay. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. All right. So this meeting is adjourned.
All right.